Okay, I'm going to do a freshish install on Windows. I apologize for sending us all down a bad route. Microsoft changed their new plugins to do what we need to do for this class, and it doesn't work at all. So due to various constraints. So here's what we're going to do. A fresh install, but I am assuming that you have already installed Ubuntu under WSL and that you can launch Ubuntu or WSL correctly. I'm also assuming that you have downloaded the distro and it is sitting in your downloads. Okay, so I'm going to launch Ubuntu, either going here and I guess not by going there, but I'm going to go here and type in either WSL or I'm going to type in Ubuntu. I'll do Ubuntu, hit enter. If this is your first class using WSL, then if you do ls to show the contents of the directory, it will be empty. Let's make a directory, mkdir space. We'll call it AARCH 64. I'm going to move into that directory, CD. I'm hitting the tab and notice that it will complete. Enter. And if I use the pwd command to print the working directory, you'll see that I am in the WSL file system. I am at /home/a, that's my username, and it's your username if you followed my instructions, followed by AARCH64. Now, unzip. And if you don't have unzip, you can install it. Let me know, but I believe you do. So unzip /mnt. I'm hitting tab, and you notice that it added a slash. I'm hitting tab again. The only thing in MNT should be your C drive. If not, just enter the C/, and now capital U for users, so there's just that capital U. I'm hitting tab, and my username is my name. Type in your Windows username. Mine is this, and I'm going to hit tab, sorry, and now DOW, and I'm hitting tab to complete. And now finally 35, that's enough, and I'm hitting tab to complete, and I'm hitting enter. This is going to take a while, so I'm going to stop the video recording here and pick it up again when it's done. The unzipping has completed. It has unzipped 3 files. The QCOW is the hard disk, and the init.rd is some kind of configuration information, and then VM Linux is the operating system or boot file. So I'm now going to further assume that you have already done the alias that I asked you to do. You can check that, lowercase alias, and here is my alias. It's in alphabetical order, so it'll be the first one. Okay, so the alias is, when I type in capital ARM, it will do all of this. Now, this is only going to work when you are in the AARCH64 folder. So recall that when you log into WSL, you'll have to do that. Okay, here we go. ARCH M, and you should see something that looks like this. This will take a while, depends on how fast your machine is. This one is a very fast, but think about what I'm doing on my machine. I'm on a Mac, so I'm running a virtual machine number 1. That's so Mac to virtual machine number 1 to run Windows, virtual machine number 2 to run Wizzle, and now I'm running virtual machine number 3 to do Kimu. So if my system is slow, there's a reason for it. Now we have to wait for this to finish. When it does finish, it will present to us the login, but don't use this. Instead, launch a second Wizzle, and that can be done like this. Last time I said Ubuntu, this time I'll say Wizzle, and proving that it is the same thing. Okay, now you are ready to log into the virtual machine that is running an emulation of the ARM processor. You can do that by SSH space user, that's the username, @ here's the network name of the computer, local host space, what port number, -P for port number 2222, enter. And now this is the virtual machine that is asking you for your password. The username was USER, the password is lowercase a. Notice it was not echoed back because it's a password. It's supposed to be secure. Now this used to be, interestingly, this used to be way faster. I wonder what changed. But I'm not going to look into it now because I don't need to. Notice that it says user @ comp.org. That's what yours should say. And if I do an ls here, it might say test. Let me make believe you didn't see that. So rm-rf test. This is a super dangerous command. So file it away in your memory, and if you ever want to do this, make sure you know what you're doing. Alright, ls, and it's gone. Alright, so clear, the word clear, is another command, and that will just clean out the clutter that is on screen. At this point, we're going to put our work on the virtual machine on hold, and we're going to switch to our work setting up Visual Studio Code. Okay, picking up where I left off, I'm going to start up Visual Studio Code, but hang on a minute. I'm not going to do it the usual way. So don't launch code, make sure you have exited Visual Studio Code. And instead, this one is running the virtual machine. You're not going to use this one ever. This one is the console, and weird burps will show up on it. You don't ever want to use it. You will use this one, but I'm going to ask you to make a third Wizzle window. And that I'm going to do, let's see, can I do a right click here? Yes, I can, and I'm going to say Ubuntu. And I'm going to start up code from here. Let's see, there's nothing here. So I'm going to say CODE from here. And Visual Studio Code is going to open up. It may talk to you for a bit. Do you want to install the recommended Whistle extension? And the answer is yes. Do the install. And it was very quick. That's done. Let's take a look at what I have installed. You'll find there is an extension for ARM assembly language. You see that it's from Dan C. Underwood. I would install that if I were you. It's decent. Not perfect, but it's a very good start for doing syntax highlighting in ARM assembly language. There is now one more. These are installed because I would use this for development for C and C++. I'm not sure these are necessary, but if they aren't there, probably is no harm. But there's another extension you must install, SFTP. Find the one that has this interesting username of Netiziskunk and hit install. And now it is installed. We can go here, I'll refresh, and you will see, well, nothing changed because there was nothing to refresh. So now I have SFTP and I have Whistle. I have some other stuff too. Okay, so that completes the addition of the necessary plugins for code. If you have the other ones, remote this, remote that, remote the other thing, remove them. They're not going to be of any help to you. And I'm going to pause here and go get some tea. Okay, I have my tea. Let's begin again. I'm going to close this and I'm going to close this. Don't need them open. By the way, if you hear any like scratching sounds in the background, apologize for that. That is our 16-year-old Portuguese water dog named Lily. She is blind and deaf and demented and is constantly walking, usually in circles. She can't lift her legs that well, so her nails scratch on the ground. What I want you to do now is open up the warm-up folder on the class the class repo. It's open up the folder warm-up. Inside you will find Apple Linux Convergence.S. Remember, always your assembly language source code files have to end in a capital S. And there is also a change_me.S. So I want you to open both of those somewhere. Just have them open in some editor somewhere. And let's begin creating our first project. This is what we're going to demonstrate is how to set up every project in this class. Okay, so we'll go here to File. This is the version of code that I launched from Whistle, and I'm going to say Open Folder, and I'm going to come up here and say New Folder. Well, first I might navigate to wherever it is that I want to go. And then I'm going to say New Folder. I'll change its name to Warm Up. Warm Up. Double clicking on it. And I'm going to select the folder. It's empty now. Do I trust? Yeah, well, maybe. Should I say yes? What the hell, I'll say yes. Yes, I trust the authors. Let's create a new file, which we can do either here, or you can close that, and if you come up here, you see the little new file. I'm making a new file, and I'm going to call it Apple dash Linux dash convergence dot capital S. And now it's an empty file. I'm going to go wherever it is that I opened up that file from the internet. I've copied it, and now I'm just going to paste it, and I'm going to save it. Okay, now that's been saved on my Windows machine. I'm going to go to wherever it is that I opened change underscore me dot capital S. I'm going to copy it all. I'm going to come back to this editor, create another file called, you don't have to keep the name change me. How about we'll get into the habit of main dot capital S. Alright, I'm pasting, and now I'm ready to move on. Let me add a blank line at the end. Okay, so now on my Windows machine I have a folder named warmup, and it has two files in it, main dot capital S and Apple Linux convergence dot capital S. All right. Now let's connect this to the virtual machine that, if I remember correctly, is still running in the background. There it is, user at comp.org. Okay. Let's bring this back up. Very good. I'm now going to hit Control-Shift-P and find sftp:config. I've clicked it. Now notice what has happened. You now, in your warm-up directory, you have a subdirectory called .vscode that has a configuration within that, sftp.json, and this file is going to control how it's going to control your connection from Visual Studio Code on your Windows machine to a running virtual machine with the ARM, emulating the ARM processor. You need to do this once for every project you're going to create. Alright, come over here. The host name, localhost, is correct. The protocol is correct. It's using secure FTP, Secure File Transfer Protocol. The port is not quite correct. It's going to be 2222. The username is not quite correct. It is simply user. Come to the end of that line, make an empty line, put in double quote, PASS, and I'm going to scroll, I'm going to just click on password, and it's the letter A. The remote path will be, let's see if I remember this right, the squiggle or tilde. No, it's not. There's no tilde there. So this is going to be the name of your project on the virtual machine. So I will call it warm up. And then upload on save should be set to true. Okay, I'm going to save this file. And now our FTP connection to the virtual machine should be set up. This will only work, once again, if the virtual machine is already running. Now there's a warning I want to give you. notice that sftp.json seems to be indented a little bit versus Apple Linux Convergence versus main. Okay, that is suggesting that this file is homed within that directory. The warning is you may find yourself adding source code to this directory, in which case it's not going to transfer to the virtual machine. It has to be outside that directory, like this is and like this is. Okay, let's look here. You see the word SFTP. Let's go over to the virtual machine, and you will notice that there is still nothing here. All right, back to Visual Studio Code. And I'm going to change this file. I'm going to change it. I'm going to add a space, and then I'm going to backspace. So in essence, I've done nothing to it, but I do have the black ball there that says the file's been changed. Now, turn your eyes down here when I save that file. Let's see what happens down here. Connecting. Done. Now let's go look at the virtual machine. ls. There is your folder, and to work on it, you would cd into the folder's name, change directory. Whoop, I keep doing that. Missing the U. Alright, if I list what's here, ta-da, main.s is there. Let me go do exactly the same thing with the convergence. I'll go anywhere in the file, add a space, remove a space. The transfer of your code over to the virtual machine happens whenever you save. So looking down here, looking down, I'm going to do it again. Adding a space, removing a space. I'm doing it just to make a change so that I can save it again. Let's look here. Done. Apple Linux Convergence. Now, if we want to switch over to the virtual machine, here it is. And there are both files. Watch what happens. I'm going to build GCC main, and I'm hitting tab. Okay, it was just a little slow. And then and that's it. That's all I need to say. I'm hitting enter. And now I have a new file, which is the executable. Notice there have been no errors. If there were errors, then you wouldn't get that executable. To run it, it is // that's a security feature, /a.out, and it says replace this with your name. Alright, let's complete our work on this warm-up. I can close that, and let me go find Visual Studio Code. I'll edit main.s and replace it with your name, not mine. Notice the file is modified. So I'm going to now save it. I'm going to watch down here, and it says done main.s. I can now flip back to the virtual machine. If I run in the file again, it's going to produce the same result because I have not rebuilt it. So I'm going to watch what happens when I use the up arrow. Up arrow once, it gives me the previous thing I typed. Up arrow again, the thing before that. and before that, and before that, and there, finally, GCC. So I'm going to build it again, and up arrow twice, and I will now take a screenshot of this and upload the JPEG file to Schoology, and your work is done. Thanks.